This time I have the distinct honor of making my first introduction of the afternoon. The individual I'm about to introduce has been an outstanding leader, an outstanding Republican. She was the first woman to serve the state as Attorney General, and because of her distinguished service and her leadership qualities, she went on to become our second woman elected to the United States Senate and the most effective woman elected to New Hampshire. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Kelly Ayotte.
Wayne, I want to thank you so much for stepping up at a very difficult time for our party, and we appreciate your leadership. And I want to thank the Nashua City Committee, everyone who worked so hard on this great event. And very much, I see our state representatives who are here. Thank you for everything that you have done for us in Concord. And we are so blessed to have two great state senators here, Senator Luther and Senator Lambert. So let's thank them for their hard work. But there's only one issue that I want to mention today, and that is that it is so important in 2012 that we have a new president for the United States. And let me tell you why. Since this president has been in office and he passed his stimulus package that put us further into debt, we have lost 1.7 million jobs. We have put ourselves $4 trillion more in debt. We have created a climate for the private sector where it is very difficult if you're in the private sector to grow and thrive because the regulatory climate that this administration has created has really made it difficult for the private sector. I mean, I've traveled around our state, I've asked our business people, what can we do to help you? And the number one issue that they've told me about is get the government off my backs, cut through the red tape. And so much of what this administration has done has made it more difficult for us. Example number one, and I think probably one of the most poignant examples, is what has happened with the NLRB and how this unelected group of bureaucrats appointed by this president has denied the state of South Carolina over 1,000 workers because they have decided that you can't move to a right-to-work state. It's outrageous. And I think that is prime example number one of the things that this administration is doing to make it worse for our country when we need to create a positive climate to get people to work. Let's create a positive tax climate, make ourselves competitive, and a positive regulatory climate, which means cut through the red tape, get Washington out of the way, and let the entrepreneurs do what they're good at, and that's get people to work and bring new ideas to the market, and that's what's made America great. It's been a privilege to serve you in the United States Senate. My focus every day is making sure that we save America because we are so in debt with over $14 trillion in debt. And yet, I serve on the Senate Budget Committee. It's been over 2 years since the United States Senate has passed a budget. Can you believe it? It's outrageous. And that's because Harry Reid, as the majority leader in the Senate, has said it would be foolish to pass a budget. Well, all of you who work hard and for your families, for your businesses, you know that you cannot have a fiscally responsible plan for this country without the basics of passing a budget. And that's why it's so important, number one, that not only do we have a Republican president in 2012, but I would say a majority in the U.S. Senate. And I think any of you who are in a position to help others from other states make sure that we can be in a majority would make a very big difference for this country because it only takes 51 votes to pass a budget for our country. The House passed a budget, and yet it has died in the Senate. And so that's just one example, but I use it as to how important this election is in 2012. I want to thank everyone here for your support because I go to Washington, when I'm in Washington, I have a real sense of purpose, but we need to change what is happening in this country. We are at a tipping point, and we need to ask ourselves, Do we want to preserve the greatest country on earth, or do we want to continue to bankrupt it by putting ourselves further into debt? Do we want to continue growing this government so we live in a country where the government is bigger than us? No, that's not the vision of our founding fathers. We want to live in a country where we can go out as an entrepreneur, start an idea, and become successful. We want to live in a country that stands for the right values of life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and adheres with our Constitution, and that is what is at stake. I appreciate all of your support. I'm going to continue to fight for you in this country in Washington, but I can't do it without you. So thank you for having me today.